In a shocking turn of events, Manchester United announced the sacking of manager Erik Ten Hag. The news has left fans and pundits alike in disbelief, as many had high hopes for his tenure at the club. The decision came after a string of poor results left the club in the bottom half of the Premier League table. Despite a promising start to the season, the team's form took a drastic downturn, leading to mounting pressure on Ten Hag. Despite winning the FA Cup and League Cup during his time at Old Trafford, these successes were overshadowed by the team's inconsistent performances in the league. Fans celebrated these victories, but the joy was short-lived as league struggles continued. Ten Hag couldn't replicate that success in the league. His tactical decisions and team selections were often questioned, and the players seemed to lack the cohesion and confidence needed to compete at the highest level. The news sent shockwaves through the football world. Analysts and former players have been quick to weigh in on the decision, with opinions divided on whether it was the right move for the club. Many believe Ten Hag was the right man to restore Manchester United to their former glory. His previous success at Ajax had built a reputation of a manager capable of developing young talent and implementing an attractive style of play. However, the club's hierarchy clearly felt a change was needed. The board's decision reflects a growing impatience and a desire to quickly return to the top of English football. Former United striker Ruud van Nistelrooy has been appointed as interim manager. Van Nistelrooy, a fan favourite, brings a wealth of experience and a deep understanding of the club's culture. The search for a permanent replacement is underway. Names like Mauricio Pochettino, Zinedine Zidane and Brendan Rodgers are being floated as potential candidates to take the helm. Ten Hag's departure marks another setback for Manchester United. The club has been in a state of flux since the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson, struggling to find a manager who can deliver consistent success. The club has struggled since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement in 2013. Ferguson's departure left a void that has proven difficult to fill, with each subsequent manager facing immense pressure and scrutiny. They have cycled through managers, but none have been able to bring back the glory days. From David Moyes to Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, each tenure has had its highs and lows, but none have restored the club to its former dominance. The pressure is now on for Manchester United to find the right manager. The fans are desperate for stability and success, and the board knows that the next appointment is crucial for the club's future. They need someone who can bring stability and success back to the club. The right manager could reignite the passion and drive within the team, leading them back to the top of English and European football. The journey ahead is challenging, but with the right leadership, Manchester United can hope to reclaim their place among the elite. When Erik Ten Hag arrived at Old Trafford, there was a sense of optimism. He came with a strong reputation, having achieved success with Ajax. Ten Hag played an attractive, attacking style of football that excited fans. He made an immediate impact, leading United to their first trophy in 6 years with an FA Cup victory. He followed that up with a League Cup triumph, bringing silverware back to Old Trafford. These early successes raised hopes that Ten Hag was the man to turn things around. Fans dared to dream of Premier League titles and Champions League glory. Ten Hag had brought a new sense of belief to the club. However, the optimism wouldn't last. Despite the early promise, cracks began to appear in Ten Hag's reign. The team's performances became inconsistent. They struggled to break down stubborn defences and were often vulnerable on the counter-attack. Ten Hag's tactics, which had initially been praised, came under scrutiny. His possession-based style didn't seem to suit the Premier League. The players looked unsure of their roles at times, and the team lacked cohesion. The lack of a clear game plan was evident. Manchester United became predictable and easy to defend against. The goals dried up and the defeats started to mount. Section 4, Expensive Mistakes, Transfer Failures Haunt Ten Hag's Tenure. One of the biggest criticisms levelled at Ten Hag was his transfer record. Despite his tactical acumen and ability to develop young talent, his decisions in the transfer market have been under intense scrutiny. He spent a significant amount of money on new signings, but many failed to live up to expectations. The club invested heavily, hoping to build a squad capable of challenging for top honours, but the results have been disappointing. The most glaring example was the £86 million signing of Antony from Ajax. The Brazilian winger was expected to bring flair and creativity to the team, but his performances have been underwhelming. The Brazilian winger struggled to adapt to the physicality of the Premier League. His inability to cope with the fast-paced and physically demanding nature of English football has been evident in his performances. He looked a shadow of the player who had impressed in the Eredivisie. His confidence seemed to wane with each passing game, and he failed to make a significant impact on the pitch. Antony's lack of impact raised questions about Ten Hag's judgment in the transfer market. Fans and pundits alike began to wonder if the manager's faith in his former Ajax player was misplaced. Other signings, such as Lisandro Martinez, also failed to impress. Martinez, who was brought in to strengthen the defence, struggled to find his footing in the Premier League. The lack of value for money from these transfers put pressure on Ten Hag. The club's financial outlay did not translate into on-field success, leading to growing frustration among the supporters. The club's hierarchy began to question his decisions. The board, having backed Ten Hag with substantial funds, expected better results and began to lose patience with the lack of progress. The fans, too, voiced their discontent. The high expectations set by the club's spending spree were not met, leading to a sense of disillusionment among the supporters. Ten Hag now faces the challenge of turning things around. He must find a way to get the best out of his signings and prove that his transfer decisions were not misguided. Only time will tell if he can overcome these transfer failures and lead the team to success. The pressure is on and the stakes have never been higher for Ten Hag. Section 5. Dressing room unrest. Discord and public criticism seal Ten Hag's fate. As results deteriorated, reports of unrest within the Manchester United dressing room began to emerge. The once cohesive unit started to show cracks, and the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Several senior players were said to be unhappy with Ten Hag's management style. They felt his approach was too rigid, leaving little room for flexibility or player input. They felt he was too demanding and inflexible. His strict training regimes and tactical instructions were met with resistance from those who believed in a more collaborative approach. Ten Hag's public criticism of his players after defeats also created tension. Instead of fostering a supportive environment, his comments often singled out individuals, leading to a sense of betrayal among the squad. He called out individuals for their mistakes, which did not go down well within the squad. This public shaming eroded trust and morale, making it difficult for players to perform at their best. The atmosphere at the club became toxic, and it showed on the pitch. Miscommunications and arguments became more frequent, reflecting the underlying discord. The lack of unity and leadership was evident. Players seemed disjointed, often failing to work together as a cohesive unit during matches. Players were not fighting for each other or the manager. The camaraderie that once defined the team was missing, replaced by a sense of individualism and frustration. The situation became untenable, and something had to change. The club's leadership faced mounting pressure to address the issues, knowing that the current trajectory was unsustainable. Fans, too, grew increasingly disillusioned, their hopes for a successful season dashed by the ongoing turmoil. The once vibrant support began to wane, mirroring the team's struggles on the field. Ultimately, the combination of dressing room unrest and public criticism sealed Ten Hag's fate. The club had to make a difficult decision to part ways with the manager in hopes of restoring harmony and success. Section 6. A legacy in tatters. What's next for Manchester United? Erik Ten Hag leaves Manchester United with his reputation tarnished. He arrived with high hopes and early success, but it all unraveled quickly. His tenure will be remembered for its unfulfilled potential and ultimate failure. The club is now at a crossroads. They need to find a manager who can bring stability and a clear vision. The next appointment will be crucial in determining the future direction of Manchester United. The fans deserve better. They demand a team that competes for trophies and plays with passion and pride. The future of Manchester United hangs in the balance.